Hello, my name is Dominic Weaver from FIDI Focus magazine, and I'm here in Osaka for the 2026 FIDI Conference. Welcome to the FIDI Focus Fringe. I spoke to Susy Castellanos and Michael Fitzpatrick of UNIRISC, and they told me the three things that in moving you absolutely need to know about risk. So could you tell us a bit about how AI is changing the way claims are filed and assessed?
In the past, adjusters will collect documents and paperwork and go through everything manual. Now, with AI, we have the capability of running through the system documents, information, photos, everything we have, and do more or a strategic investigation and analysis of the claims in a different way that we didn't do before. And I think it's something we're starting to see a great value, but it's still a tool for our claims adjusters. It doesn't replace the human side of the claim.
It gives the adjusters time to focus more on the emotional sensitivities of the actual claimant, because we are, in fact, moving their prized possessions that they've collected for a lifetime, and the emotional sensitivity that's involved there. It gives our adjusters more time to focus on that and give a more hand-holding experience for the adjuster.
So AI technology, does it make fraud easier, or does it make it easier to detect?
I think both. It makes it easier to detect for us, but at the same time, it makes it easier for the clients to use that tool to commit fraud. So it is a combination of both. For our adjusters, they have now the capability of investigating if the invoices or the photos are AI generated. Because we have found over time, I mean, we've all been learning as we go through with this new tool that photos can be AI generated. Like furniture arrives with no damages, then we get a claim with a photo showing damages to the furniture that has been AI generated. Or when we ask for proof of value, an invoice of a high value item, it could also be AI generated. And it is hard to detect. It's not easy that you just upload an AI, it's going to confirm it's AI generated invoice, but it has to be a little bit more investigation. Adjusters have to call stores to verify if the invoice is valid. And with photos, we're just having to increase in-person inspections to verify that the damages are there and transit related. On the other side, clients are more knowledgeable now what they can do through AI and produce all this information and commit fraud. We had claims, many claims that have been AI generated that were not valid claims. So, you know, it's both ways. Also, we have seen an increase of clients demanding with more legal wording and challenging our settlements because they run it through AI, and AI is able to guide them how they can, you know, do lawsuits or write a more of a legal document.
So what should movers do to keep pace with the changes in AI?
I think movers need to embrace AI and adapt this new tool that we all have in different ways. They have to train their staff to use AI as a tool as well. And you know, we've seen many surveys that are done online, for example, that are virtual surveys. If they have something added that can, at the same time, those videos can identify damages, pre-existing conditions, that would be a great benefit, because not only we don't have to depend on the crew marking damages, but the video is capturing the pieces of furniture and any damage, reading damages. I think that would be in the future something that will help the mover minimize claims for pre-existing damages, because I think probably 60% of our claims are pre-existing damages that were never noted at the time of packing. And it's just because you're in the rush of packing, you are not identifying every small scratch on a foot leg, on a piece of furniture, but AI might be able to identify them through, their virtual inspections. So their documents as well. There are so many ways the movers should adapt and train their teams to use this.
So geopolitics used to be an occasional concern for movers. Can you tell us a bit about why it's now something they need to think about every day?
Geopolitics has always been, either centralized or regionalized. War conflicts broke out within countries, or civil unrest broke out on a regional scale. Today, it breaks out on a global scale, and it's unpredictable. We all know how fast things can change, and take the Iran conflict in the Strait of Hormuz and what's going on there today. Those things did not occur frequently in our industry ever up until how many years ago? 3 to 5 years ago. So that has become something that is a new concern to movers.
So what are the most significant impacts of shipping of all of this?
The movers, the client, be more informed of their brokers' capabilities and their underwriters, because you need a strong underwriter because of the events that are happening now, that has a strong financial support, and also that can assist in the event of new risks, that can create new coverage for new risks.
So do you think we've now entered a permanently higher cost, higher risk environment?
It's a very risky type of coverage to endure for an underwriter. So therefore, market relationships, when you get into a market that has a great stability like we have, you can give that confidence back to the mover that your claim is going to be paid. It's not going to be held up by underwriting, because that underwriter either has gone out of business or bankrupt, or has chosen that this class of business is not in their appetite any longer. So these are some of the challenges that we face. And so when you find that partnership from a market standpoint, we've had relationships with our markets for many, many years, the same markets. You build that secure partnership with those markets, then that financial stability exists so that we can get our movers' customers' claims paid quickly and efficiently.
So what's one piece of advice you'd give to movers for coping with this new volatile environment?
Advise your customer. Don't keep your customer in the dark, because these situations are now happening. You have to be very upfront with your customer about the fact that if their container gets rerouted and delayed, that these insurance policies, and it's global, there is no coverage for delay in these marine insurance policies that we all work with in this industry. So delay, the fact that their shipments could be rerouted, the time it would take for the customer to get their goods, these are all things that need to be discussed up front with their shippers, as we call them, and our movers' clients are shippers, to be upfront with them about these challenges that we're facing today.
Yeah, I would recommend that they reach out to their insurance broker, talk about this, what if, be informed, be more knowledgeable, ask, who's my underwriter, what are their financial capabilities, are they able to respond in the event of a catastrophic loss.
Could you just explain to us how and why coverage can change so rapidly now in the middle of transit sometimes?
From a war risk standpoint, the cargo clauses that are embedded in these policies, which are standard ICC clauses, war risk clauses, strikes, riots, civil commotions, we call SRCC. They've been standard coverages in these policies, and they have coverage for certain events, but as other events are now evolving, we're seeing different things happening, like cargo ships being seized. That never happened in our industry. I've been doing this for 25 years now. I've never ever seen anything like this in my entire career. So from a war risk standpoint, there is a change in what is happening from that standpoint. Terrorism, strikes, riots, civil commotions have been regional, and they can affect shipments from a regional level. But now that we are seeing some of the events that are ongoing today, reinsurers, who are the insurers that insure insurers, they're really driving where these moratoriums come into play because of the rating that's surrounding here and the aggregation that's happening in certain areas and the nuclear events that can happen. So where it all starts is really on the reinsurance level, and the reinsurance are starting to dictate what those coverages are for the insurers, who are the people we partner with. Reinsurers in order to restructure rating, assess situations, assess cost, they'll put a moratorium in place, and they can do that with 48 hours notice. They can change the coverage for your policy. From a war risk and moratorium standpoint, if movers really want to protect themselves, and of course there is a different cost structure involved and a different underwriting process, purchasing a war risk policy on top of their policy that has certain limited war and strike SRCC coverages involved, is something that we may need to start to look at because of the changing environment. And of course, that comes with a higher cost and an overall cost eventually to their shipper.